Welcome to Heart about everything lupus, where we discuss everything about lupus. I'm Susie van der Walt, as most of you know me, Susie Eagles Flight. I've had lupus for 18 years and started the first lupus support organization in South Africa 17 years ago. I'm on the steering committee of the World Lupus Federation, and I'm a managing member of Lupus South Africa, and I serve on the board of Andrea's Gift. May is Lupus Awareness Month. So in support of Lupus Awareness Month, we will be discussing the basic fact of lupus. Remember, it's always good to learn more about lupus, and I promise you, you will learn something new today. So when you are done with this podcast, pass it on to the family members and friends, and this will help them understand. Just a note, I've had 2 strokes, so please bear with me if I do struggle with pronunciation. So get a cup of nice hot coffee or tea, put your earphones in, sit in a relaxing chair, and let the two of us discuss lupus. What is lupus? Lupus is a disease that affects the immune system. When a person has lupus, their immune system cannot tell the difference between germs and their body's healthy tissue or organs. So the body attacks itself. Lupus can affect nearly every part of your body. So now you'll ask me, what are the symptoms of lupus? The common symptoms of lupus is a butterfly rash or a skin rash, joint and muscle pain, Raynaud's phenomenon, which is that part if you have, if it's cold outside, the tips of your fingers and your toes get blue or white, and that means the blood flow is restricted. That is what we call Raynaud's phenomenon. Sjogren's syndrome. That is when there's dryness inside your body. So it's with all the membranes, your eyes, your mouth, your skin. Then vision problems, mouth and nose ulcers, weight loss or gain, photosensitivity is that which you cannot go into the sun or even certain lights like UV lights, all those, it affects your skin and it causes blisters, rashes, any reaction in the skin. Kidney disorders, you can have kidney inflammation, chronic kidney inflammation is called lupus nephritis, kidney infections, etc. Anemia caused by damage to red cells, low white cells, or low platelet counts. Pericarditis, which is inflammation around your heart. Endocarditis, which is inflammation inside the heart. Fever, hair loss, headache, confusion, memory loss, strokes, seizures, psychosis. That's all linked to the brain. Chest pains, shortness of breath, fatigue, and pleurisy, which is inflammation around the lungs. Who gets lupus? Women of childbearing age, 15 to 40, men and children. How is lupus diagnosed? First of all, a doctor must consider your symptoms, your medical history, and results on your bloods and other tests. Tests for lupus, a full blood count, ESR, which tests inflammation, kidney and liver tests, urine analysis, ANA antibody test, anti-DSNA antibody test, which is directly linked with lupus, chest x-ray, ECG, biopsy of skin or kidney, and complement C3 and C4, which is a measure of inflammation and infection in your body. New EULAR and American College of Rheumatology classification criteria for diagnosing SLE. In 2019, EULAR and ACR gave classification criteria for SLE, and it requires a positive NNA. That's obligatory. You must have a positive. If your ANA is negative, but you still have symptoms, doctor will redo it in 3 months. It works with a point system, and you must have a point 10 or higher to be diagnosed with lupus. If you don't, and your mark point is lower than 10, but you have a positive ANA, doctor will also redo the test in 3 months. The criteria is divided into 10 domains. First domain is constitutional, which means systemic, fever, and it counts 2 points. Now, it doesn't mean then any of these criteria. If you've had it before or at the moment, it counts. Second domain is hematologic, that means your blood. So if you have leukopenia, which is a low white blood cell count, it counts 3. If you have thrombocytopenia, which is the platelet count that's low, it counts 4. And autoimmune hemolysis, rare red blood cell count disorder, and it counts to 4. Then is a neuropsychiatric, which means your brain. Delirium, which means mental. You're not aware of your surroundings. Psychosis is the loss of contact with reality. And a seizure is a burst of uncontrolled electrical activity between the brain cells, and that counts as 5. Then the next domain is the mucocutaneous domain, that's skin and mucous membranes. So you have the non-scoring alopecia, hair loss, oral ulcers, subacute cutaneous or discoid lupus, or acute cutaneous lupus. So the subacute, it means it comes and goes over periods, and the acute means it's now and it stays. And all of them count a mark of 2, 4, 6, then the doctor will add the mark. Next domain is serosal, which is the outer lining of your organs. Pleural or pericardial effusion, that's water in the lungs or heart membranes. Or acute pericarditis, which means it's inflammation in the heart membranes. And they count 5 and 6. Musculoskeletal, that is a muscle, joints, and bones, and joint involvement is number 6. So renal is kidney involvement, and if you have proteins in your urine, kidney biopsy, by a kidney biopsy you have class 2 or 5 lupus nephritis, 8. Kidney biopsy, if you have class 3 or 4 lupus nephritis, that is a count of 10. That's why some people just have lupus nephritis and they're diagnosed with lupus, is because they have class 3 or 4. Then the next one is antiphospholipid antibodies. That is to do with blood clots. You get the anticardiolipin antibodies, or the anti-B2GP1 antibodies, or lupus anticoagulant. It's all to do with antibodies that causes blood clots. And it counts 2. Next domain is a complement proteins. Now, complement protein is the protein that fights infection. So if you have a low C3, with the ones we check in lupus, is 3 and C4. If you have a low C3 and low C4, it counts 3. And if you have a low C4 and low C3. It counts 4, and the low C3 and 4 indicate lupus because it's not fighting infection, it's fighting your own body. Next one is SLE specific antibodies. That's antibodies that is in your blood that usually just is there for lupus. That's why they say there's no specific blood test for lupus, because there's not one test you can test for lupus. There's quite a few. ANA is one of the most important ones, but it's not really, because there's a low percentage of people that are healthy that get a positive ANA. So it's anti-DS-DNA antibody, anti-double-stranded DNA antibody, and the anti-Smith antibody, and they both count 6. Now the doctor will take all your points and add them together. And if you have more than 10 or 10, a positive NA, then you're positively diagnosed with lupus. If you have marked lower than 10 and you don't have a positive NA, you don't have lupus. But if you have a positive ANA and lower than 10, doctor will redo in 3 months. And positive ANA, a negative ANA, but 10 points or higher, the doctor will redo the test in 3 months. What causes lupus? Although a definite cause of lupus is unknown, genetics and environmental factors play a huge role in diagnosing lupus. And these factors are hormones, certain medications and chemicals, then you'll hear drug-induced lupus, viral bacterial infections, or exposure to UV light, dietary factors, and stress and trauma. And yes, trauma can cause lupus. Treatment options. Lupus is typically diagnosed by a rheumatologist. The medical treatment, there's no cure for lupus. The medication they use is anti-malarial drugs, which is hydroxychloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, and it treats the symptoms of lupus and reduces flares. And it protects your organs. Anti-inflammatory drugs like Brufen, Voltaren, Celebrex reduce pain and stiffness. Corticosteroids like prednisone treat serious complications of lupus, and it's basically an anti-inflammatory. Okay, the immune suppressive drugs, and it suppresses your immune system, so it protects your organs, that lupus, which is in the autoimmune, in the immune system, cannot attack your organs. Methotrexate, azathioprine, mycophenolate, and cyclophosphamide. Those are all immunosuppressant drugs. Now I come to a big thing when you have lupus: lifestyle changes. Okay, so number 1, learn as much as you can about lupus. Number 2, commit to a healthy diet that is low in saturated fats, plenty of fruit and vegetable, less starch and red meat, and avoid gluten, sugar, and lactose. Number 3 is take your medication religiously. Don't miss a dose. Don't stop your medication. It's very, very dangerous. Now, number 4, ask your doctor about supplements. Number 5, the supplements you can take is vitamin D, folic acid, zinc, calcium, and magnesium. The immune boosters, add vitamin B and vitamin C to your diet. Don't take anything supplement anything that suggests it's an immune booster because it boosts the lupus. Number 6, protect your skin from sunlight. Remember, it's not just sunlight, it's UV lights, fluorescent lights. Through the windows, the sunlight, you might have to put up blinds, but protect yourself. During a lupus flare, rest is essential. But I want to add here, rest is essential if you have lupus. You must sleep 8 hours or more a night. And you can, which is a miracle thing, you can take a nap in the afternoon. If you can't take it in the afternoon, take it in the early evening when you come back from work. I know, but it's difficult with family and stuff, but you need to put your health first. Regular exercise, a walk, walking on a treadmill, all this is very good for stiff and sore joints. Pace yourself. Don't overdo it. And I'm preaching to myself here. I always, when I have a good day, I overdo it. Then when the next day is, I will suffer because I did too much on the good day. So please be aware of that. Ask your family and friends to help. Usually, we are in this mode. We can't ask everybody for help. You'll do everything yourself. If you have lupus, stop that. You need to be honest with the people around you, and you need to ask for help. It will be very good for your lupus if you start doing that. Sleep at least 8 hours a night. I said that. Reduce stress and trauma is very easily said, but remember, ask people around you to help you. Don't smoke and reduce alcohol consumption. Keep a medical journal. Very important for your doctor appointment, for how you feel, your emotional health, everything. Take care of your mental health and seek a professional if you feel you need it. We are not made to cope with a chronic illness and everything alone. There are people out there that can help you. It's difficult. It's not easy. Now, living with lupus, chronic conditions is difficult. You'll feel angry and depressed and isolated after your diagnosis. Talking to someone about how you feel is very important. Talk to your family. Be open with them. Tell them that you're suffering. And give them training on lupus too, so that they can understand it. And seek support if you need it. So, part of Lupus Awareness Month, we decided to include warriors in this podcast. So, we've included a male, a female, and a child warrior. And the question we asked them is, how does it feel to have lupus?
Hi, good morning, Susie. Good morning, all lupus warriors. It's Gerald speaking here. Susie, thank you so much for the amazing job you guys are doing and all the input you give and the info you give to us. Yes, my lupus, I was diagnosed last year, February, but I've had the symptoms for a long time, at least 15 years that I can remember, where I would get that rash on my face and on my arms. It always looked like I had ringworms, and doctors gave me different creams to try, and eventually I got, there was a doctor that gave me the right creams and done the right tests, and I was diagnosed. And But I eventually had to go because for the test, because what happened, I'm a person that was always doing physical work, and it's 20, let me just think now, 2021, 2021, for about 8 months to a year, I was struggling so bad. My body was so sore that when I get up in the morning, I try and do something, and I just couldn't, and would never understand what was going on. And then when I was diagnosed, and then the doctor explained that it's your immune system attacking your body and your muscles and everything. Then myself and my wife could understand it, and um, then we started dealing with it, and it has caused a lot of problems. Um, we it's sad to say that in the 2nd of January this year, you get this lupus makes you so frustrated because you get um, tired of being tired all the time, and it makes a person feel hopeless that you just want to lay down most of the time. And on the 2nd of January, don't know, so I think it just got all too much for me. And I tried to commit suicide. I was in a coma for 4 days. That they didn't know if I was going to make it or not. And then I came out of it. And the doctors were also quite amazed that I pulled through that. And yeah, they done an amazing job. And it definitely affects a person's life. Now, in the daytime with my wife's help, when I'm busy just been doing something, my wife can read. She actually sees the change on my body posture and on my face and that, and she says, "Go and lay." She tells me to go and lay down. So she's been a tremendous help to me, and also all the feedbacks we see on the group, and how people, some of the warriors are really suffering, and I feel really sorry for them. And we pray that everybody gets comfort and healing in some way. And yeah, I thank you guys so much for what you are doing. And yeah, if it wasn't for you guys, with all the comments that one sees, and then wonder it would have been in the dark all the time. Because all the doctors haven't always got all the answers either. And I am feeling better, and thank you so much, and God bless you guys, and have an awesome day. And I forgot, thank you, Michelle there in White River. Thank you so much for all your input. God bless you.
Hello, my name is Natasha. I'm from South Africa and I've had lupus for about 10 years or more. How does it feel to have lupus? Well, although symptoms can be made better with medication, lupus has no cure yet, and I have to accept that I will live with it for the rest of my life. In my opinion, being positive and having faith in God is the most important part to get through life. Just to get through the average day feels like it's 5 times more difficult when you have an illness. So I daily pray for strength from above, and I definitely have seen quite a few miracles when praying. There is no use in feeling sorry for myself. Doing that just makes you physically and mentally more ill. We have to focus on the good, the positive, and what's above. Lupus is definitely not a death sentence and has learned me a lot throughout life. How to be humble, how to appreciate even the smallest of things, how to love others for who they are. Of course, I sometimes wish I could live like a normal illness-free person, but I cannot imagine never having lupus to begin with. It has made me the person who I am today.
Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm almost 18 years old and I've been living with lupus for 10 years now. Living with lupus as a teenager can be difficult because you are forced to grow up so quickly. Between having chemo, 3 lumbar punctures, countless blood tests, it can be quite frightening not understanding what is happening to you. Lupus is hard to diagnose in general, as it mimics other diseases, but it's especially hard to diagnose in children. It took months and numerous doctors for my diagnosis, and in that time, I deteriorated. This idea of lupus was so new to us, and none of us knew how to tackle it or heard of others even having it. Our stress levels went up as we were entering a new, scary reality. It is difficult to explain to others about your condition when you are young, as you don't fully understand it yourself. You just know that you are sick and won't ever be fully cured. It can also be isolating when you can't participate in activities that other children are doing, such as swimming because of your lupus, or even why you have to take so many medications. Yet, despite all of this, I have found that school kids have also been the most accepting and welcoming. From my prep school classes to high school grade, I have had their constant support and love to guide me. We still don't know everything about lupus, yet we have learned so much. I try and raise awareness in school so children don't have to go through the same uncertainty. Lupus is a part of me, yet it doesn't define me.
That concludes this podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button below. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Andrea's Gift, Twins and Teen, Lupus South Africa, and Susie Eagles Flight. Thank you for listening, and remember, giving up is not an option.